Hi guys, today we're going to talk about the learning theories. The team is organized by Kyneret, Alejandra, Jessica, Demian, and me. First, we're going to start with the first question, which is, what does each language theory emphasize? As we know, there are 6 language learning theories that we revised on the video that we watched previously. And the first language learning theory, and the most common one, is the behaviorist. And this theory emphasizes the change of behavior. And this change of behavior is or can be accomplished through repetition, correction, and reinforcement. The reinforcement can be done as a positive or negative reinforcement. Next, we have the universal grammar that is presented by Noam Chomsky. This language learning theory says that we are born with an innate grammar. This means that our brain allows us to acquire any language, no matter where we were born, and it's like an innate device which processes the language. And does anyone want to say something? Does anyone want to explain the following theories?
Me, for example, the crash and monitors. I think that it's a very interesting theory because it explains that any language can be acquired like we acquired our mother tongue, and I think that it's very it's right because we didn't went to go to school when we were babies to learn the language. We don't learn the alphabet like we acquired another, no? Or we don't write first, like before that we speak. I think that we first listen and listen and listen, and then we try to speak, and then we try to read and we try to write. But when we acquire another language, for example English, first they talk the alphabet or how to read, but I think that the most important is to speak. So I think that this theory is important and it's logical for me.
Okay, anyone wants to say something about the following theory, which is the cognitive theory?
Me. Well, the cognitive theory is, this theory measures the knowledge that we have, and this theory is used to express the knowledge that the learners have. Yeah.
Yeah, the cognitive theory is like the one that changed the knowledge we acquire, and this knowledge is determine the way we behave. So I think it's related to the behaviorist theory. The following is the conversation theory.
Me? Well, I think it's really interesting, this part, because it's about to interact with other students, focus more in conversation, like dialogues, and use this kind of techniques, and in the mini knowledge construction. So I think this is very important to acquire a language. So it's a good theory for me.
And also we saw in the video, it is about social interactions and using body language. It is very important when we are talking with a partner or with a classmate.
Yeah, it's all about interaction between speakers. Okay, and there is the final learning theory, which is the humans accultural theory.
Well, in this we can see that we learn the language but it's more than maybe we want to be or to form a part of another culture of that form part of your target language. So it's an orientation in a new culture. So sometimes we wanna be a part maybe from American culture or British, like the video say, or maybe if you acquire Japanese, for example, many people want to acquire this language for the culture. So maybe this is interesting too, useful.
Yes, well, this theory also mentioned that learners will acquire the language to the degree they acculturate to the language group, as Jessie mentioned.
Yes, and the need that you have to communicate with others impulse you to learn the language more as possible, because you have to communicate with others, no? So that need impulse you to acquire, and I think it's interesting. Do you wanna say other thing, or you want to pass the next question?
The next question.
Okay.
Yeah, the
well,
next question.
Let me share the screen with the second question. Okay. The second question says, how will each language theory contribute to your teaching? Okay, I think that it's an interesting question. In my case, I think that these 6 theories, for me, make me realize how or what are the different views of the language is. So I don't say that all these theories are wrong or are right. I think that each question has some logical explanation. So I think that for me, I would or I will take something about these 6 theories, because I don't think that one is better than other, and will help me to adapt these theories to adapting my programs or in my lesson classes, and reach our goals like a teacher, no? That make that the students learn, in our case, the English or any other language. So I think that these 6 are good, are logical, and that's all for me. I don't know if anyone can want to say something.
Me? Well, I think it's very important to, as a teacher, is to know all this theory, and of course are very influent in your way to teach. And so I think all of the theories, all of them have important approaches or important techniques that we can use if we combine. So in the teaching contribute a lot. So I don't know, maybe we must know more deeply about each theory, because there are a lot of investigation about it.
Yeah, I think that, like Kine said before, there are different points of view about how the human learns or acquires language. Well, basically learn, because there are learning theories. So I think that as teachers, we choose the language theory that suits better with the way that we are happy to teach. So, like Ina said, there is no language theory that is better than any other. The best language learning theory will be the one that is suitable for us. So I think it's like the choice of anyone, like anyone's choice.
Well, I think that each theory has a lot to add in our teaching because when we teach, there are many factors involved, such as the environment, the different learning styles, the context, and so on. And I think that each learning theory includes an aspect that another one couldn't have mentioned. For example, I would teach a little of each language theory. I would teach a little of each language learning theory for different purpose and needs in the classroom or for my students.
And also, each student have a different brain and different knowledge, abilities to learn. And as teachers, we must to apply all the theories a little bit in our classes.
Yes, I think that the students is an important factor too that we have to consider when we choose one theory. Okay, do you want to pass to the next question, or do you want to say something more?
To the next question.
Yeah, I think that's all for this question.
Okay, so let me share the screen to show the third question.
Okay, the next question is, what language theory did your teachers use to teach English? And in my case, all of my teachers that I had teach only grammar. So I think the teacher applied universal grammar theory.
Well, in my case, in the past, my teachers used the grammar theory and the behaviorist theory and the cognitive theory to teach me English. And that's all.
In my case, the behaviorist, it's more that I saw in the classroom because they only focus in the correct and on incorrect behavior, and also in the positive or negative reinforcement. So that is, and grammar, of course, only that. We don't see interaction or something like that.
Yeah, in my case, it has been the behaviorist and the cognitive because, like that you mentioned, my teachers make us to repeat the same sentence or give grammar rules to learn by heart. But when we have to speak, for me, I don't know what to say like in this moment because I get confused with all the grammar rules and you get afraid, and if you are saying the good formula, or I don't know how to say that, but I think that it's a big error because you don't speak well, and me is like the live example of that. Okay, it's for me, that's all.
In my case, I think that the behaviorist theory is like the most common. However, actually I've seen like some teachers at the faculty have been teaching like cognitive theories, well, in the cognitive aspect. But yeah, I have had teachers that are really behaviorist because they attempt to teach us and record only to repetition activities, to learn vocabulary, to learn the correct grammar rules. And yeah, I think that behaviorist is like the most common one.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to pass the next question? Okay,
Yes. Well, the next question is which language theory do you prefer and why? Well, in my case, I prefer the conversation theory because we can learn the language through the conversation and the interaction. And I think that the interaction is important to acquire the language. In the conversation, we can construct the meaning from what we get, and we also use our body language. And I think that speak is so important to acquire the language. And through this theory, we can learn we also can learn the grammar, vocabulary, the culture aspects, and so on.
Yeah. Well, personally, for me it was a difficult question because I like 3 theories in special, that is the conversation, acculturation, and the crashes monitor. Because, well, firstly, because I'm combined that the language is built in natural environments of social interaction. So this is really important. Also, the cultural structure, it's important too to acquire a language. And in the case of crashing theory, it's for me it's very good or very interesting theory, because I believe too that we acquire the language like in a natural way, in another natural way. So that's the reason.
Okay, and in my case, I prefer the crashes monitor. I have to say that I didn't know about this theory until this course, but I think that it's so interesting because, like I said in the first question, if we learn a language only with listening and repeating, but internally understand how the language works, why don't we can learn other language, no? So I think that it's so interesting, and we have an advantage because now we know how the language works, even that it's in our mother tongue. But I think it's so interesting. But of course, it is related to the conversation one and the socialization also too. So I think that it's so interesting, and well, I like it, and I will try to put in practice in the future.
Someone else?
Well, in my case, I think that Crashing's monitor is the one that catch my attention because, well, it's like this theory says that learning a language is not like learning the grammar, but having the ability to self-correct, to have time to rethink, to correct our mistakes, and to say, I'm doing this wrong. Why I'm writing or speaking in this way? So I think that it is an important fact since we are learning, we are during this process, and moreover, I liked the Schumann's acculturation theory because, like all of you said before, social interaction plays an important role in learning languages because we got into the natural environment in which the target language is spoken. So I think that this is really important to acquire the correct pronunciation, some slang, or even slang or idioms that we can use to communicate with native speakers if this is one of the goals or something that we have while we are learning English. So I think that those two learning theories are the ones for me.
Yes. Do you have anything else to add?
Well, I prefer the Schumann's acculturation theory because, as Fanny said, it is important to interaction and put into practice the language. And I want my learners speak as a native speakers. And that's all.
Do you have anything else to add, or do we move on the next question?
Next question.
Okay.
Yeah, let's move.
Okay. In this question, it says that will you use one or multiple language theories and why? Well, in my case, I believe that it's important not only to focus on a single theory, because, like we discussed, all of them have advantage and disadvantage, but we can use the advantage to present to your students material that can be useful to they acquire the language and can interact, and the grammar is important too, but interaction also. So the cognitive part too. So all of them are good, but we can combine. And for me, it's important to acquire the goals that we have, that your students acquire with the time. I don't know if someone else want to participate with.
Yes,
adding
I agree with you. Yes, because I think we must to teach a little bit of all of those theories. But in my case, as I mentioned, the Schumann's acculturation is my favorite, and I will practice this theory more than the others.
Okay, someone else?
Yes, I think that I will use all of them in some parts, because like I said before, I think that all of them complement, because you need to imitate and repeat the phonetic sounds, then you produce sentences and use these sentences to make a conversation, and also all the social factors intervening can help us to keep learning the language, like Fanny says before. And also I think that it depends so much in the knowledge of the student, like Demian says before, because you don't will introduce the conversation if the student doesn't know anything about the language vocabulary. So you have to use the cognitive theory to introduce them knowledge, vocabulary, some rules, but I think that it's I forget the word, like a balance in all this theory, and use them to complement all these theories.
Yes. Well, I think that I will use multiple theories because the students have different ways to learn, and we must adapt our classes to the kind of students we will teach. For example, there are many there are different learning styles, such as kinesthetic, interpersonal, verbal linguistic, naturalistic, and so on. And there are many factors, and depending on it, we can select one or multiple theories, and thus be able to facilitate learning for our future students.
Okay, so add something?
Well, in my opinion, I think that the use of one or multiple theories might vary according to the environment, according to the learner's needs. There are some aspects that might influence in the decision if we wanted to use one or more learning theories. However, I will say that in my case, for me, it's better to use only one theory, since this allows us to select then the method, and then we can select and apply the suitable activities and approaches for teaching. So we can select only one theory, then select the method that suits better with this theory, and it will be easier for us to then choose the best approach and then choose the activity. So for me, I think that I will only use one theory, but yeah, I'm open to use or to combine different theories. I think that it's a good idea, I think, yeah. Okay, this is the last question. We have seen different points of view, different opinions, and I think that it is important to share our different points of view, because sharing our thoughts or knowledge or references with these theories can be helpful to change the way we see how we learn languages. It is important to go deep into those theories, because we are going to be teachers in the future. We need to know the basis that we are going to apply in our teaching in the future. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you to all of you of the team for being here and for sharing your answers with us. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, thank you for
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos about language. Okay. Bye.
Bye.